If you've been paying attention, I'm sure you've noticed moving vans clogging the highways. You probably already know where they're headed: Texas, Florida, the Carolinas, basically anywhere with sun, space, and fewer taxes breathing down your neck. Spoiler alert, even states that pay you to live there can't hold on to folks right now. Today we're looking at what states are expected to lose the most long-term residents and where they're going. Now, I'm not saying they will lose population because they're losing long-time residents, but they're still gaining people. What I'm saying is a lot of long-time residents have had enough and they are moving on. We figured this out with the help of the census website and a few other studies. Before we get going, I have to explain something. When people switch states, a majority of the time it's to a neighboring state. That's obvious and it's boring. So I'm going to tell you about the ones not next door. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look. Number 10, New Jersey. New Jersey has a reputation for a lot of things: great food, turnpikes, and being sandwiched between New York and Pennsylvania. But lately, it's also famous for people running out the door. For years, Jersey led the nation in outbound migration, and it isn't slowing down. What they are getting is a lot of new residents that only stay there about 6 to 9 months. So that's why they're still growing. Now, sure, New Jersey is wealthy on paper. The median household income is around $99,000, which is the third highest in the country. But with that paycheck comes sky-high costs. The state hits homeowners with the highest property tax rates in the nation, averaging 2.5%. Add in income tax, that's almost 11%. And even the wealthy start asking themselves, why am I paying so much to sit in traffic on the turnpike and dread the next time a total stranger asks me a Sopranos question? And let's not forget the sardine factor. New Jersey is the most densely packed state in America, with over 1,200 people per square mile. That's fine if you like neighbors, but most folks are heading south in search of bigger backyards, cheaper housing, and milder winters. Now, before we get going, I'm sure a lot of you are going, no, I thought New York was the most densely crowded. No, New York City is, but the entire state, they only have like 430 per square mile, so it's not that bad. Now, you go on the other hand, you take a look at Alaska, they're the opposite side of that coin. They have like 1.3 people for every square mile. Yeah, big difference. Right now in mid-2025, the average home value is about $569,000 in New Jersey, and that's driving a lot of people out, along with the taxes and everything else. The top escape destinations, Florida and the Carolinas, where people trade snow shovels for palm trees. Now, obviously, the biggest ones are going to be Pennsylvania and New York. But like I said, why go over those? Those are obvious. Number 9, New York State. New York. The Empire State is still iconic, but lately it feels like the empire is shrinking. Since 2010, New York has been one of only a handful of states actually losing population, and since the pandemic, that trend only got worse. In 2020, about 67% of all moves in the state were people leaving, meaning if there's 100 people moving in or out, 67 of them were leaving. That year alone, New York lost nearly 880,000 residents, and most of them were from, you guessed it, New York City. The Big Apple may be exciting, but it comes with eye-watering rent, brutal winters, and some of the highest state and local taxes in the nation. Upstate isn't faring too much better. Cities like Buffalo, Rochester, and Syracuse have struggled for decades with joblessness and declining industries. Add in the weather where snow is measured in feet, not inches, and you've got a recipe for people calling U-Haul. Florida officially passed New York in population, knocking it down to the 4th largest state. These days, more New Yorkers are searching for affordability and sunshine than Broadway tickets. Now, this is going to blow a lot of you away, but the 2 states outside of like Pennsylvania and New Jersey they're moving to, California and Texas, are where New Yorkers are going. Number 8, Mississippi. Mississippi might not be shrinking as fast as you'd think, but that's only because many residents can't afford to leave. With a median household income of around $53,000 and the highest poverty rate in the nation, 19%, scraping together enough money to start fresh somewhere else isn't easy. For those who do manage to leave, jobs are the big reason. 71% of outbound movers left for work opportunities elsewhere. The state also battles some of the worst health outcomes in the country, the highest obesity rate, highest smoking rate, and the lowest life expectancy at just 74.6 years. Add in high teen pregnancy and poor healthcare access, and Mississippi is fighting an uphill battle to hold on to its younger population. Yeah, they have a youth movement. It's going the wrong direction for them. This creates a vicious cycle. Young working age residents leave, birth rates drop, and the population shrinks even faster. Mississippi's challenges aren't just economic, they're deeply tied to health and demographics. Where are they going when they do get out? Texas and Oklahoma. Number 7, Connecticut. Connecticut might look like a picture perfect New England postcard with its coastal towns and its fall foliage, but living here comes with a hefty price tag. For years, residents tolerated high costs and freezing winters because of strong job opportunities. But with remote work taking off, people don't need to sit in Hartford traffic to keep their paychecks. Outbound migration now makes up more than 63% of Connecticut's moves. And while many are fleeing to Florida to retire in the sun, others are heading to, you guessed it, other expensive states like New York and California. Why? Sometimes people want a change of scenery without sacrificing the big city lifestyle or the big city paychecks. And Connecticut's smaller cities don't offer the same excitement. Now, that's a lot of people will complain about New York and California, but the paychecks are definitely better in New York and California versus someplace like Florida or Texas. Now, they do have a little bit higher of a cost of living, and real estate is ridiculous in both those states. But sometimes, especially when you're young, you're just looking at that big paycheck. That retirement and starting a family, that's centuries down the road when you're 20, right? Next thing you know, a Hooter waitress gives you a text and says, "We need to talk." The state also suffers from a huge wealth divide. Stamford is loaded with hedge fund millionaires, while Hartford has a poverty rate that's over 28%. Yes, Mississippi holds down that record for the entire state, but Hartford is ridiculous for a big city. That imbalance pushes a lot of middle-class families to reconsider whether paying premium Connecticut prices are worth it anymore. Where are they going? North Carolina and Colorado, of all places. I didn't see that one coming. Obviously, they're going to be going to, immediate areas first, like we said at the beginning. But yeah, Colorado's a weird one for them. Number 6, Oregon. For the first time in over 30 years, Oregon's population is declining. This is a state people once flocked to for its natural beauty, progressive politics, and craft beer. Of course, strip clubs too. I don't know if anyone actually moves for those. We got a lot of them. But now, it's not so much of a thing. Between 2021 and 2023, Oregon's population dipped by 0.1%. That might not sound like a lot, but it's a big deal for a state that's been steadily growing since the early 80s. Yeah. I mean, I first came to Portland area in the early 90s, and I fell in love with the place. My biggest regret in this life, and I got a few, but one of my biggest regrets in this life is not moving to Oregon sooner. I didn't like the cities anymore. I like the rural areas. I'm in a suburb now, but I liked having rural and nature right there. And Oregon delivers on that. But the big culprit for this decline in population, housing costs. The average home value here is around $504,000, and rent isn't much better. For many families, Portland and other urban hubs aren't affordable anymore. On top of that, Oregon has been struggling with homelessness, drug issues, and high taxes, which has added a new tax too recently. The combination of rising costs and declining quality of life has a lot of Oregonians packing up for Colorado again and Arizona. I don't know how anyone could move from Oregon to Arizona. That would just be too rough. The weather change would just send me over the edge. But like I've said many times, I like it cold. Number 5, Hawaii. Hawaii is a paradise for tourists. For residents, not so much. The islands are gorgeous, but they're also the most expensive places to live in America. Everything from milk and gas costs more because it has to be shipped across the Pacific Ocean. And if you've never seen the Pacific Ocean, it's big, and Hawaii's almost in the middle of it. Locals are getting priced out of their homes, and wages simply can't keep up. Median household incomes aren't terrible on paper, but when your grocery bill looks like a car payment, it doesn't stretch very far. As a result, 14,000 more people left Hawaii for the mainland last year than moved in. Even newcomers who dream of living the aloha lifestyle often leave after a couple of years. Between the distance from family, the high costs, and the cultural adjustment, many mainlanders pack up, head back home once the honeymoon period ends. I mean, I've been to Hawaii. I like it. It's beautiful. It's kind of an adventure, but I don't think I'd ever want to live there. A lot of people dream of it. But where are Hawaiians heading to, or people that lived in Hawaii for a couple of years and now heading back to the mainland? They head to California and Utah. Number 4, Alaska. Alaska literally pays people to live there, yet it still can't keep residents. Every year, the state hands out oil revenue checks, sometimes worth over $1,000 per person. But that perk isn't enough to make up for the brutal winters and isolation. Back in 2016, Alaska's population peaked at over 740,000 thanks to oil jobs. But as demand and prices fell, so did employment. The state now sees thousands more people leaving than moving in each year. Even the military families stationed there usually don't stick around after their service. I mean, if you get stationed in the Philippines, you're probably going to stay there. That's just how things are. If you get stationed in Texas, you might stay there. I know a lot of soldiers, Air Force guys that will stay in Europe once their service is over. Alaska is stunning, no doubt, but the long, dark winters, high cost of living, and the distance from the rest of the U.S. are just a little too much for people to handle long term. Where are they heading to? Oregon and California. They also head to Washington too, and even though it's not next to them, which nothing really is next to them, almost beating out Oregon was Colorado for Alaskans. Number 3, Louisiana. Louisiana's story is a mix of economic struggle and health challenges. The oil and gas industries, once the backbone of the state, aren't what they used to be, leaving fewer good-paying jobs. That's why over 70% of the people leaving Louisiana are chasing better employment elsewhere. The state also ranks near the bottom in healthcare outcomes, high smoking and obesity rates, along with poor access to medical care, gives Louisiana the second worst health system in the nation. Life expectancy is low, and heart disease and cancer are major killers here. Tourism helps keep the lights on in places like New Orleans, but service jobs don't replace the lost stability of oil and gas careers. People who can leave often do, heading for states with stronger job markets and better health care. Where are they going? Tennessee and North Carolina. I understand North Carolina, especially if healthcare is a concern. Tennessee, not so much. But I guess if you're living in Louisiana, you're going to want to stay in the South. Most of the time, obviously, they're heading to Texas. Now, what I found strange about this one, even though Arkansas and Mississippi are right next door, not many people move to those states from Louisiana. Face it, Mississippi, you suck. Arkansas, you ain't much better. Number 2, Illinois. Illinois might be the poster child for taxes gone wild. It has one of the highest effective overall tax rates in the country, and property taxes that rank second highest in the nation at 2.16 statewide. Now, the state itself just has 1.83%, but then when you start looking at the counties, they all add theirs on, so brings up the average to about 2.16. I did see another one, oddly, that said it was 2.11, but I don't know. It's in between there someplace. That's still pretty high. Since 2010, Illinois has been one of the fastest shrinking states. About 66% of all moves are people leaving, and nearly half the residents have admitted that they thought about moving away. The reasons are clear: expensive taxes, cold winters, political frustration, and job opportunities elsewhere. Oddly enough, their crime is reasons to leave is 11th out of the top 20 reasons people want to leave. The crime isn't really that big in Chicago. I think in violent crime rate, they're ranked like 25th in the nation, right around there. Different studies might show it 24, others show it 26, but right around 25th in the nation. That's of the top 100 states. So they're definitely not in the top 10 like they want to make it sound on the news. It's bad. I mean, they have more murders than anyone else, but like I've said in other videos, they have 3 times more people than the next one on the list. When you look at the rate, they're 25th. Even though Illinois looks average in many stats, the reality is people are fed up. A quarter of the residents straight up say it's the worst state to live in. When that's the local mood, it's no wonder they're heading for other states like Florida, Texas, and North Carolina. All right, before we get to number one, if you're looking to move to another state, a decent state, or you're one of the people leaving your state, there's a link for a website in the description area called Home and Money. They can get you in touch with a real estate agent anywhere in the country. It's a really cool website with a bunch of other tools that help you through the home buying process. All right, on to number one. And number one, West Virginia. Finally, we land in West Virginia, the fastest shrinking state in America. Once fueled by the coal industry, the mountain state has been struggling to reinvent itself. Coal's decline left behind towns with few job prospects, and young people are leaving in droves. The state has the second lowest median household income in the nation at $54,600. Poverty sits at 18%, and healthcare outcomes are grim, to say the least. West Virginia has the second lowest life expectancy in the country. Those who can afford to leave often do, while those left behind are older and sicker. West Virginia's population dropped nearly 0.7% last year alone, the steepest decline of any state. And that's not just migration. Birth rate is low because many young adults have left. That leaves an aging population with fewer resources and fewer workers to support them. Where are West Virginians heading? South Carolina, California, and Oklahoma. I don't know what you're doing moving to California from West Virginia, because if you can't afford West Virginia, you certainly can't afford California. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day. Be nice to each other.